Hey everyone, and welcome to a deep dive that takes us way back. We're talking ancient wisdom, hidden knowledge, and maybe even a touch of magic today. Get ready to explore Hermeticism.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's one of those topics that really does feel like stepping into a secret society.
I know, right?
Hermeticism is this esoteric tradition,
Okay.
and it's based on the Corpus Hermeticum, a collection of texts,
Okay.
supposedly written by this figure, Hermes Trismegistus.
So right off the bat, we got a mystery here.
Yeah.
Who was this Hermes Trismegistus?
Yeah.
A real historical figure or more like a mythical archetype?
Well, that's part of what makes it so intriguing, right? He's often depicted as this Egyptian priest king,
Hmm.
like a sage, with knowledge spanning both Greek and Egyptian traditions. But when we try to pin down the historical Hermes,
Yeah.
he gets pretty elusive. We don't really know.
Oh, I see.
What we do know is that his supposed writings, the Corpus Hermeticum, have had a huge impact on Western esoteric thought for centuries.
It's amazing to think that these ideas have been floating around for so long.
Right.
I'm guessing that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Before we dive into the Corpus Hermeticum itself, I'd love to get a bit more historical context.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the origins of this tradition?
So Corpus Hermeticum was rediscovered in Europe during the Renaissance,
Okay.
but its roots go back way further.
Okay.
There's evidence that suggests that groups following Hermetic principles
Right.
existed centuries before that.
Like, how far back are we talking?
Think 9th century,
Okay.
the year 830 AD to be precise.
Wow.
We have accounts of the Muslim caliph, Al-Mamun, encountering a group called the Sabians
Stadiums.
in the city of Haran. And guess what they claimed?
Don't tell me Hermes Trismegistus was their prophet.
I got it.
Wow.
And they considered the Hermetica their holy book.
Wow.
This suggests that Hermetic ideas were already circulating
Yeah.
centuries before they made their way into European thought.
That's incredible. So it wasn't just a Renaissance fad. This stuff has some serious staying power.
For sure.
Okay, I'm ready to crack open the Corpus Hermeticum. Where should we even begin with a text this ancient and mysterious?
Let's start with the foundation. So Hermeticism presents a very particular view
Okay.
of God, or the ultimate reality,
Yeah.
And the Corpus Hermeticum uses all sorts of names: God, Lord, Father, Mind Nous, Creator, the One.
Yeah, a lot of names.
But it's more than just different names. It's a different way of conceiving
Okay.
the divine altogether.
So it's not the typical God sitting on a throne image that we might get from other traditions.
Not at all. Hermeticism emphasizes that God is both everything
Okay.
and the creator of everything.
Okay.
It's a bit mind-bending, but try to imagine a reality where God is not separate from creation, but rather the source and the substance of it all.
Okay, I can already feel my brain stretching. So everything is God.
Yeah.
And God created everything.
Mhm.
It's like a cosmic chicken and egg situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this gets at the heart of Hermeticism, this idea that the divine is woven into the fabric of reality.
So where does humanity fit into all of this? Are we just tiny sparks of the divine?
That's a great question, and it leads us to another key concept
Okay.
in Hermeticism, the idea of Prisca theologia.
Prisca theologia.
Yeah.
Okay, break that down for me.
So it's the idea that there's this single pure theology that was given to humanity in ancient times.
Okay.
Think of it as a universal truth that lies at the heart of all religions,
Right.
despite their outward differences.
So under all the different rituals and beliefs, there's this one original unifying truth.
Ah, that's the idea.
That's a pretty powerful idea. It makes you wonder if there's a way to tap into that original source.
Right.
Now, you mentioned earlier that Hermeticism has an ethical dimension.
Yeah.
Where do we see that playing out in these texts?
Well, there's a particularly insightful section in Book 9 of the Corpus Hermeticum that deals with this directly.
Yeah.
It dives into this idea of reason and knowledge, what Hermes calls treason,
Okay.
and how it can be used for both good and evil.
So treason isn't about betraying a country in this context.
Not quite. Here, treason refers to reason and knowledge, but with this added layer of where that knowledge comes from.
Okay.
Hermes argues that treason can lead us to good if it's guided by God,
Okay.
or to evil if it's influenced by demons.
So our thoughts and actions can be swayed by these different forces, either divine or, let's say, less than divine.
Exactly. It's like there's this battle for our treason playing out within us. According to Hermeticism, God is the source of all good,
Okay.
while demons produce evil.
I'm curious, what does Hermeticism consider evil? What kinds of things do these so-called demons produce?
Well, Book 9 gets pretty specific here.
Okay.
It lists actions like adultery, murder, violence against parents, blasphemy.
Right, so more of like the classic, you know.
Basically, all sorts of things we'd consider pretty negative. It's interesting to see how they link these actions to demonic influence.
It definitely suggests a moral framework.
Yeah.
But if God is the only source of good, where does that leave humans?
That's the catch. Hermeticism suggests that we're inherently limited by our physical nature. We're consumed by bodily needs and desires, which makes it difficult to fully grasp and embody the supreme good.
So we're kind of stuck in this physical realm,
Yeah.
which makes it harder to connect with the divine.
It's a challenge, but not an impossible one.
Okay.
Remember, treason can lead us to good if it's aligned with God.
Okay, so there's hope for us mortals yet.
Ah,
But before we get too deep into the Corpus Hermeticum, I want to touch on another text that's super important in Hermeticism, the Kybalion.
yes, the Kybalion. A fascinating text with a bit of mystery surrounding its origins. It's said to be based on the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus,
Right.
although its authorship is debated.
Right. It's one of those texts that seems to have appeared out of thin air, but it's packed with wisdom that has resonated with people for over a century.
Absolutely. And at the heart of the Kybalion are its 7 Hermetic principles.
Okay.
These principles claim to govern the entire universe.
7 principles that govern everything.
That's what it says.
Now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more.
These principles are mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender.
Okay.
Each one offers a unique perspective on how the universe operates.
Okay, that's quite a list.
It is, yeah.
Let's start with mentalism. What's that all about?
So mentalism is all about the power of the mind.
Okay.
It's summed up in the phrase, the all is mind, the universe is mental.
Ooh. So are we talking about the idea that our thoughts create our reality?
In essence, yes.
Wow.
Mentalism teaches that everything we experience in the physical world originates in the mental realm. Our thoughts have the power to shape our experiences and to some extent even influence the world around us.
Wow. That's a powerful concept. It suggests we have much more control over our lives than we realize.
Yeah. And this idea of interconnectedness is further emphasized by the principle of correspondence. It's often summarized as above, so below, as below, so above.
Okay, I've heard that phrase before, but I'm not sure I fully grasp its meaning. Break it down for me.
Sure. It means that the universe is a reflection of itself at different levels. The macrocosm, the universe as a whole, and the microcosm, our individual lives, operate according to similar patterns and laws.
So if we understand how our own minds work, we can better understand how the universe works.
Precisely. And the reverse is true as well. Any change we make within ourselves can ripple outward and affect the world around us.
Now that's a pretty profound thought. Okay, what about this vibration principle?
All right.
It sounds a bit, well, vibrational.
It's all about energy. This principle states that everything in the universe is in a constant state of motion, of vibration.
Okay.
Nothing rests, everything moves.
So we're all just vibrating energy.
Essentially, yes. And here's where it gets really interesting. Different states of mind vibrate at different frequencies.
Hold on, so you're saying our thoughts and emotions have different vibrational frequencies?
Exactly. Negative emotions like fear and anger
Yeah.
vibrate at lower frequencies, while positive emotions like love and joy have higher frequencies.
So raising our vibration is all about cultivating those positive feelings and thoughts.
Precisely. And by raising our vibration, we can align ourselves with higher states of being and potentially manifest our desires more effectively.
This is fascinating. It's making me rethink the whole good vibes thing. Maybe it's not just a catchy phrase.
There might be more to it than we realize, and we've only just begun to explore the Kybalion and its principles.
I know, right?
Yeah.
There's so much more to unpack here.
Before we dive into the remaining principles, I think it's a good time to pause and let all this information sink in.
You're right. Let's give our listeners some time to absorb all of this. We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive into Hermeticism. Welcome back. I'm still buzzing from all that we uncovered about Hermeticism.
Yeah, me too.
So far.
It is pretty mind-blowing stuff, right? We've gone from ancient Egypt to the Islamic Golden Age and right into the heart of Western esotericism.
This is pretty amazing.
And we haven't even gotten through all the principles of the Kybalion.
Exactly. We were just getting into how these principles can be applied in our own lives. And the vibration principle seems like a perfect example.
Right.
You were saying it ties in with practices like meditation and visualization.
That's right.
Yeah.
if everything is vibrating energy,
Okay.
including our thoughts and emotions, then practices that shift our mental and emotional state are also affecting our vibrational frequency.
So by calming our minds and focusing on positive thoughts and images,
Ah.
we're actually raising our energetic vibration.
Exactly. And that can influence our experiences. You know the saying, you attract what you vibrate.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this connects to ideas like the law of attraction.
Right.
But what about those times when we're inevitably feeling down or experiencing negative emotions? Does that mean we're stuck in a low vibration?
Not necessarily. The principle of polarity reminds us that everything has its opposite. Up and down, light and dark, hot and cold, these are all just two sides of the same coin.
Right.
And it's the same with our emotions.
Okay.
Okay.
So instead of seeing negative emotions as something bad or something to avoid, we can view them as part of the natural spectrum of human experience.
Precisely. Polarity isn't about suppressing one side or the other,
Okay.
but recognizing that both are essential for wholeness.
Okay. So it's more about acknowledging those negative feelings and understanding that they're not permanent.
Exactly. It's about learning to ride the waves of emotion without getting swept away.
Which brings us to the principle of rhythm.
You got it.
Yeah.
Rhythm reminds us that everything flows in cycles.
Okay.
There are ebbs and flows to life,
Right.
just like the tides.
So good times and bad times are all part of this natural rhythm.
Absolutely. Nothing stays the same forever. There are times of expansion and contraction, growth and rest. Understanding this natural rhythm can help us navigate the ups and downs with more grace and resilience.
It's like knowing that even when things are tough, it's just a phase and a period of growth will follow.
Precisely. Rhythm encourages us to surrender to the flow of life and trust that it's all unfolding as it should.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm loving how these principles are all starting to connect.
Yeah.
We've got a few more to cover: cause and effect and gender. Let's start with cause and effect.
Cause and effect is about taking responsibility. It emphasizes that every cause has its effect.
Right.
And every effect has its cause.
So it's like the karmic principle. What we put out into the world comes back to us.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're not just passive bystanders in our own lives,
Right.
but active creators.
Mm-hmm.
Our thoughts, words, and actions plant seeds.
Yeah.
And those seeds eventually bear fruit.
So it's about becoming more mindful of our choices and understanding that we have the power to create the reality we desire.
That's the idea. Now let's tackle the principle of gender.
Okay.
This one often causes confusion
Okay.
because it's not about male and female in the traditional sense. It's about the balance of masculine and feminine energies that exist within all of us.
So we're talking about those archetypal energies, like yin and yang.
Exactly. The masculine principle is associated with action, logic, intellect,
Uh-huh.
while the feminine principle is associated with intuition, emotion, nurturing.
And we all have both of these energies within us, regardless of our biological sex.
Precisely. And just like with polarity, it's about finding a balance that works for you.
Yeah.
It's not about suppressing one or the other,
Right.
but integrating both to create a sense of inner harmony.
So someone who might appear outwardly very masculine could still have a strong feminine energy within them, and vice versa.
Absolutely. And recognizing and honoring both of these energies within ourselves is essential for living a fulfilling life.
It's fascinating how the Kybalion takes these ancient Hermetic concepts and presents them in a way that feels so relevant to our modern lives.
It's a testament to the enduring wisdom of these teachings.
Yep.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's pause for a moment and connect the Kybalion back to those earlier ideas we discussed from the Corpus Hermeticum.
Good idea.
Yeah.
It feels like there are definitely some threads weaving these two texts together.
Absolutely. Remember how we talked about the Hermetic view of God as both everything and the creator of everything?
Yes, that was a pretty mind-bending concept.
Yeah.
It seemed to suggest that there's no separation between the divine and creation.
Well, if we bring in the principle of mentalism from the Kybalion,
Yeah.
which states, the all is mind, the universe is mental,
Right.
it offers another layer of interpretation.
So could the Hermetic concept of God be related to this idea of a universal mind? Like maybe God is the ultimate consciousness from which everything emerges.
It's a compelling possibility. And if we consider the idea of Prisca Theologia, this single, pure theology that underlies all religions, we can see a connection to the principle of correspondence. Correspondence suggests that the same patterns and laws apply at all levels of reality. So perhaps this Prisca Theologia represents a universal truth that's reflected in all spiritual traditions, despite their outward differences.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Hmm.
So maybe these seemingly disparate spiritual traditions are all tapping into the same underlying reality.
It's an intriguing possibility, and it's one of the reasons why Hermeticism continues to fascinate people even today.
Right.
It encourages us to look beyond the surface and search for those deeper connections that unify us all.
It definitely makes you wonder what other hidden truths might be out there waiting to be discovered. It feels like we've only just scratched the surface
Yeah,
of Hermeticism.
it really
It's
is.
such a rich and complex tradition with so many layers to uncover.
It is like a deep well of knowledge. And like any deep dive, the more you explore,
Yeah.
the more you realize there's always more to discover.
And that's part of what makes it so captivating. But even with just this glimpse into Hermeticism,
Right.
it's clear that these principles offer some profound insights
They do.
into the nature of reality and our place within it.
Absolutely. Whether it's the power of our thoughts to shape our experiences, the interconnectedness of everything, or the importance of finding balance within ourselves and the world around us, these are timeless truths
Yeah.
that can guide us on our own personal journeys of growth and self-discovery.
I'm especially drawn to the idea of raising our vibration. It's such a simple concept,
It is.
but it has such profound implications. If we can shift our thoughts and emotions to a higher frequency, it seems like we can create a more positive and fulfilling reality for ourselves.
And it's not just about personal benefit.
Right.
If we're all interconnected, as Hermeticism suggests,
Yeah.
then raising our individual vibration contributes to a collective upliftment as well.
It's like we each have a responsibility to cultivate those positive vibes.
Yeah.
Not just for ourselves, but for the greater good.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing is
Yeah.
that it's something we can work on every day
Yeah.
through practices like meditation, gratitude, acts of kindness, anything that brings us joy and elevates our spirit.
So it's not about waiting for some external force to bring us happiness. It's about taking ownership of our own energy
That's right.
and choosing to align ourselves with those higher frequencies.
Precisely. And that's where the real magic of Hermeticism lies,
Oh, I like that.
in the realization that we have the power to create the reality we desire.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired right now.
Me too. I hope our listeners are feeling inspired as well.
It's been an incredible journey through the world of Hermeticism, from the mysteries of Hermes Trismegistus
Absolutely.
to the wisdom of the Kabbalion.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore.
I know, right?
So many more layers to uncover.
But for now, we'll leave you with this thought. If our thoughts do indeed shape reality, as Hermeticism suggests, what kind of reality are you creating?
What seeds are you planting with your thoughts, your words, your actions?
That's a great question. It's a powerful question to ponder. And we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, keep seeking those deeper truths that resonate with your soul.
Until next time, keep those vibrations high
Yeah.
and keep creating the reality you desire.